The boy pressed his hand against the wall. The next second, the wall suddenly crumbled. Even more bizarre, the wall was filled with rotting flesh and maggots. Seeing this, Mike was terrified. He instinctively sought help from his mother. However, when he turned back to look at the wall, everything had returned to normal. Mike was extremely puzzled. Could he be hallucinating again? A few days ago, Mike had been diagnosed with cancer. For easier treatment, the whole family moved to a house near the hospital. Since moving in, Mike kept seeing strange things. He thought these were just hallucinations caused by medication side effects. Until one day, while playing hide and seek with his siblings, a strange boy suddenly appeared in the house. Before Mike could react, the boy was dragged into the basement. To figure out what was happening, Mike quickly followed, but upon entering the abandoned mortuary, Mike was horrified to find many mummies there. He wanted to leave, but the mummies surrounded him. Mike pushed them away in panic, only to realize he had pushed his own brother. Strange events kept happening. Mike could only seek help from the priest, but the priest told him these spirits had not harmed him. Perhaps they wanted his help. Mike was skeptical, but that night, strange events happened again. While Mike was exercising, a mysterious shadow suddenly appeared. Recalling the priest's words, Mike forced himself to ask what it wanted, but it let out a roar and vanished. The continuous strange events left Mike mentally shaken. His family thought it was hallucinations caused by cancer spreading. Until one day, his sister fell into a floor hatch while playing in the attic. Mike heard her scream. He rushed to the attic and rescued her. After rescuing her, Mike discovered a box in the floor hatch. He opened the box and saw dried slices and old photographs inside. The scenes in the photos were ones he had seen in his dreams. It turned out that everything Mike had dreamed of before had actually happened in reality. It was somehow being replayed before his eyes. To uncover the truth, Mike and his sister went to the priest. The three of them researched the history of the house. It turned out that long ago the owner of the house was a medium, and the strange shadow was the medium's assistant. They used their spiritual abilities to communicate with the dead for profit. During the seances, the boy would release a substance called vital energy to boost their powers. However, during one seance, the boy released too much vital energy, causing everyone present to die, and the boy mysteriously disappeared. The strangest part was 30 years later, when the government expanded a highway, they needed to relocate a nearby cemetery. But when the workers opened the coffins, they found over 100 were empty. The priest guessed that the medium had stolen the corpses to increase the boy's spiritual power. While they were discussing how to end it all, Mike's parents returned home. They didn't believe the priest and thought he was a fraud, so they angrily drove him out. But that night, the mother was awakened by strange noises. She hurriedly turned on the light to check. The woman was startled, but when she turned around and looked closely, everything was back to normal. Before she could understand what had happened, the lights in the house began to flicker. The family huddled together in fear. At that moment, the mother finally believed that the house was haunted. She urgently called the priest for help. The priest held a cross in his hand. He found the medium boy's ashes in the crematorium. As long as the ashes were removed, the boy could no longer haunt Mike's family. The priest carefully carried the ashes outside. Inside, the house instantly returned to calm. Everyone thought the misfortune had ended. However, the next day, Mike woke up to find his body covered in writing. Seeing this, his mother was terrified. She immediately took Mike to the hospital, but the medium boy's ghost followed him to the hospital. This time, Mike mustered the courage to face him, and finally learned the truth. It turned out that years ago, the medium had stolen corpses from nearby graves to increase his power. He used an ancient dark ritual to make the boy absorb the spirit's energy. But during one seance, the spirits broke free. They killed everyone in the house. Mike finally understood. The boy just wanted them to leave the house. The house was trapped with too many vengeful spirits. Staying there would put their lives in danger. Meanwhile, Mike's sister was taking a shower at home. When the shower curtain suddenly wrapped around her, the spirits had already started to strike. Knowing the truth, Mike immediately left the hospital. He returned home with a cleaver and smashed open the basement panels. Countless corpses fell out instantly. Thus, a decades-old hidden corpse case was finally revealed. Mike poured gasoline over the corpses and set them all on fire. Only then could the spirits find peace. As the flames burned, countless spirits suddenly appeared, surrounding Mike from all sides. They reached out and covered him above his head. Perhaps it was their way of thanking Mike. Mike was then rescued by firefighters. Amazingly, Mike's cancer miraculously disappeared shortly afterward. Perhaps this was the only way the spirits could repay Mike. This story is based on real events. The film is inspired by the haunting incident in Connecticut, USA.